Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. Let us continue with the next part of the session. Now, we would like to introduce our next resource person, Dr. Satyasaran Changdar, Copenhagen University, Denmark. Dr. Changdar is a senior researcher specializing in machine learning at the University of Copenhagen, Denmark since July 2021. With a PhD in applied mathematics from the University of Calcutta and a rich academic background, including an MSc in mathematics from the IIT Bombay and an MTech in computer application from the IIT Delhi, he has made significant contribution to that field. His expertise span areas such as machine learning, deep learning, physics-informed machine learning, and data-driven scientific computing. Previously, as an associate professor at the Institute of Engineering and Management in Kolkata, India, he accumulated 12 years of teaching experience. Dr. Changdar seamlessly combined teaching and research, making valuable contribution to the academic community. His commitment to the advancing the understanding and application of machine learning methods is evident in the research endeavors and publication. He will now discuss about application of machine learning in agriculture, medical imaging, and simulation of complex nonlinear mathematical models. Please, sir.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity and thank you for this kind introduction, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so it's
Welcome,
my pleasure
sir.
to be here for this FDP. And okay, so let me share my screen, then I'll start. Yeah, so now it is.
Yes, it's visible clearly.
Okay.
Make it full screen. Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay. So the title of this topic, so like as you know, so can I start, right, Dr. Sandip?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
So the title of this talk would be on the application of machine learning in agriculture. I'll not focus on medical imaging as somebody already talked about this. So because and also we have the limited time for this discussion, and so I'll focus on only that application of machine learning in agriculture and also in simulation of complex nonlinear mathematical models, simulation and the solution of. And also this is just focus on my research area, not in general application of that deep learning or machine learning agriculture. There are wide application of various applications. So this focused on only on my research area. So which I've been doing and University of Copenhagen in last two and a half years. And yeah. So this would be the outline of this presentation. Like first I'll talk about just a bit on slides about what is machine learning, deep learning, AI, and then I'll go for the solution of nonlinear differential equation using this physics-informed neural network. Okay. So moving on to the next slides. Yeah. So what is machine learning? Generally, I start with this this slides. So for any presentation. So we know from this this graph, this picture, that artificial neural network is the superset, or we can say that machine learning, deep learning are the subset of artificial intelligence. So generally, artificial intelligence is a concept of creating that intelligent machine that stimulates human behavior, whereas the machine learning is a subset of AI that allows machine to learn from the data, without being explicitly programmed. And deep learning is is representation learning using deep neural network. I hope everyone know all of these terms. So then a deep neural network, what is that? It's an artificial neural network with multiple layers between input and output layers. The DNN finds, so generally the deep neural network find a correct mathematical manipulation that turns the input into output, whether it is linear or nonlinear relationship between input and output. So generally for any machine learning, any deep learning problems, whatever we are doing, we are approximating a function based on the data. So that is our general aim, to how to approximate that function in an efficient way and how robust that function would be. And also I generally for any talk, I talk about this function because this is very important in deep neural network. So generally it's being used. So in our during modeling. So what is that? A single hidden layers neural network can approximate any continuous function to any desired degree of accuracy. So that means given enough hidden units. So that one just single hidden layers can approximate any that continuous function. So then why do we need the deep neural network? So because of if just only one hidden layer, and if the function is very complex, if the problem is very complex function, and which we are going to approximate that function, sometimes you may need infinitely many large number of neurons. So instead we can go for, if we deep the layers, so then each layers there may require few number of neurons, fewer neurons compared to that single hidden layer that exponentially large number of neurons were needed. So that's why generally we go for, we are interested, we always use the deep neural network. Okay, now that first that why means what are the applications? There are various applications in agriculture right nowadays, in smart agriculture. Because you know that for sustainability, for that food production as well as for sustainability, that several studies have demonstrated the need of significantly increase the world food production by 2050. But there are a limited number of land area that where the plants can grow. So and also that the water level are also been receding. And that AI deep learning offer great potential to boost data-driven smart agriculture. Hello, am I audible? Anyone?
Yes, sir, audible. No problem, sir.
Okay.
There is a noise out from outside.
Because there is some sounds coming, echo.
Yes.
Okay, just a minute. Yeah. And what I said, that the agriculture sector can benefit immensely from development in the field of smart agriculture. And deep learning with big data will improve the farm service to yields better crop production and profit. So I've been working in a project generally which is very closely related with the Plants and Environmental Science Department. So where we are means as a computational scientist, as a machine learning scientist, so we are helping the plant scientists as well as the plant breeders. So using that machine learning and deep learning, how this would be used, that machine learning, deep learning for in some agriculture applications. So I'll discuss in this talk mostly. But before going into details, that our project that is called the ReadyMix projects. Okay, let me take the marker, then it would be, yeah, a pointer. Yeah. So the ReadyMix project, our project name, so which is generally is located in the University of Copenhagen in Tastad, Denmark, and where that is a plant breeding innovation. So plant breeding is the arts and science of adapting plants characteristic to agriculture need in order to produce more healthy, tasty, and nutritious foods. So actually plant breeders need, so means for that, that means to get a better crops. So that needs the breeding, means the plant breeders breeds the different varieties of crops, and their aim or goal is to find a improved varieties, the crops having higher yields, or it can grow under droughts. So the plant breeders help farmer to achieve higher yields and obtain a crop of the superior nutritional value that can be grown more resource efficiently. Okay, so the breeders generally is looking for new varieties. So how we are helping them? So actually plant breeders have different types of seeds, 100,000 of seeds they have, but they don't know which seeds they will go for breedings, which seeds they will select, what are the seeds they will or varieties they will select for next breedings. Actually, to get a one particular varieties or one particular seed which can grow, which can have highest yields or which can grow under droughts. So that plant breeders doesn't know about that. So how to select those seeds from that from the huge collection of seeds. So they are doing the experiment in field experiment. So before going into that, so I'll tell you some motivation why we are doing that. So we need crop to have a deep and well developed root system, enabling efficient use of resources, also from the deeper soil layers. So in our research, we are focusing on that how the deep roots are important, which part of the deep roots are important. So we are helping that breeders that these plants have deep roots, these seeds have or these varieties have deep roots. Then they will select those varieties and for the next generation, for next breeding process, so they will use those seeds. So one way to improve the crop root system is through breedings. But to do this, efficient root phenotyping is required. So root phenotyping means for the different ways we have to understand the roots, how the deep roots are important, which part of the roots are important, how thick of the roots or how long is the roots, or different phenotyping is required for that. And for that we need to measure the measurement of the genetic components of variability in the relevant root traits. Root measurements, it's very complex process because it's under soil. So to get the actual root is very difficult. So these are the challenges we have. The water and nitrogen are important in soil resources considered in crop production. These are the two important soil resources. The plant must uptake those water and nitrogen from the subsoil. So efficient crop water use is needed for productivity and resilience in the dry periods. Efficient nitrogen use, particularly from the deeper soil layer, as I told you. So that from the deeper soil layer is important, needed for nitrogen fertilizer input and to minimize nitrogen leaching loss to the environment. Okay, so thus we need that how the deep roots are important. So I'm not reading all the sentences. So you can understand that that how the deep roots. So our important task here for our task. So we have to find that which part of the layers or which part of the undersoil is important for uptaking nitrogen and uptaking water. So how to find that using machine learning, using AI. So for that we need the data, right? So we need the data, otherwise we cannot model. So for that there are some design experiments the plant scientists they are conducting in the experimental unit. So yeah, this is another site. So why the deep roots are important? You can see that it improve water use efficiency. If the plants have deep roots, it can uptake more water from the deeper soil layer during a drought. So if the temperature is higher, or maybe there is a less water in the shallow part of the water, then from the deeper part of the layers soil, the plants can uptake waters and improve nitrogen use efficiency, that reduce nitrogen leaching. So deeper rooting means stronger growth and better stress tolerance. Yeah. So this is just something about why we are interested. What is the use of that? Why to use that AI and machine learning? So as I said that earlier, that it was very laborious. So that you have to find the roots. So it's very complex, laborious part. But nowadays, so that experimental unit at Redimex, so we have a multispectral camera, so which can grow under this soil. Which can that camera can go inside this tube. There are many tubes are there. I'll show you in the next slides. So this was, there are many tubes are there. You can see from here over the entire this bed. Here you can see the 4 beds are there. So under this bed, there are tubes are installed. So tube can, and the camera can go up to this. So it can take images. The plants have some roots. The roots and this is a transparent tubes. These tubes are transparent that the camera can capture the images from these tubes. So there are, for one particular bed, there are 300 tubes are been installed. And this project have been started in 2015, I hope, 15, 16. But I joined in 2021 July. So I didn't see this one, but yeah, we can. I've seen this field. I didn't go every day there. So sometimes in the beginning of when I started my project, so I visited that place, and yeah, there are many plant scientists there. They are working regularly. They are collecting the data, and yeah. So this is the Radimex project where we have been working, and this project is collaborated with many breeders companies like DLF, Nordic Seeds. So there are Saget. So it's collaborated with the industry partners. So yeah, the objective is to develop the new methods for deep roots phenotyping within the Radimex semi-field context. So we call it is a semi-field. It's not exactly fields. Yeah. So as I told you, there are from here you can see there are 4 beds under this bed. So there are tubes are installed and cameras. So it can take the images at different depths, different soil depths. So you can see that there are 4 units, and the unit comprise 2 pairs consisting of 2 units, each with 4 meters. This is the 4 meters, something like that. 600 MR tube, this mini reactant tube we call. 600 tubes are installed total in 2 beds. A total 4 beds are there. 700. These are the some diameter of that tubes. What are the specification of each tubes? Each unit has 2 movable rain-out shelters also there. So if you want to, if you don't want the rainwater, then you can use this rain-out shelter. It's movable. It can cover these fields. And Radimex is helping plant breeders to select varieties that develop deeper roots. Okay, so this is 115N. So during this talk, I'll talk about, sometimes I will say 15N, sometimes I will say 13C. So these are the 2 measurements. So these are the 2 measurements of this 15N and 13C. So I'll be using this. 15N generally is a heavier isotope. So I'm not going into that, and I'm not also familiar with all of this. This is just numerical measurements we have, 15N, some numerical value we have. And similarly, we have the 13C. So 15N is corresponding to the nitrogen uptake. So we have a numerical measurement for that. And for 13C is corresponding to the carbon isotope. It's a heavier isotope. And it has also a numerical value from the lab. Generally, we got those values during at the time of harvesting. The plant scientists, they took some, they generally take some samples from that, the spike of that, like if it's a wheat experiment from the spike. So they collect the samples and they send to the some laboratory, and from there we got those values, that what are the 15N values. It's a numerical measurements we have. So what are the data, like what I told you, we have the image data. So we have a very large data set, image data set for at different soil depth. So along this tube we have, and there are 300 tubes are there installed total. And total, if there are 4 beds, total 600 tubes are there. 150 for each beds we have. For 2 beds, 300. 600. So, okay. Any problem? Is there any issue? Hello, am I audible? Okay. So, but some noise is coming. Can you just stop that?
Okay, sir, I'll try to.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So I'm not going into details of this, otherwise you may feel bored. Okay, but to understand that, you should have some background, like otherwise you will not understand the later part. So that's why just some, these are the activity schedule. So like this imaging one, it was conducted on 27 March, different. So that means in different months, like it started in March, then April, May, June. So there are 3 or 4 imaging imaging was done during that period times. Isotope injection at this time, 15 N that isotopes, and that sample collection on this July. So this is the activity schedule for one experimental experiment, that for wheat or maybe potato. But I'll be talking about for wheat experiment. And these are the different lines from the beds where the breeders are doing their experiment. And here the universities also, the plant scientists also doing the experiments. So they're collecting the data. Now let's come into our part. Like I said, machine learning scientist, data scientist, or machine learning engineer. So what we can do from this data, how to get some insights from the data, how we can help them, how we can help breeders from those types of data. There are huge data. So we have image, we have numerical data, we have some sensor data, water sensor data, we have drone imaging data. So various data we have right now. So now goal is to investigate how well root data can predict crop uptake 15N. So I told you there is a measurement 15N corresponding to nitrogen uptake. Yeah. So this you can see from this the soil layers. So these are the different like 60 to 80 centimeter depth along the x-axis is the soil depths, and these are the root length, average root length along this. So over here you can see along that 120 to 140 centimeter, there is a like the root length was here high. So this is the root distribution you can see from this graph for one particular, and this is the average root length over the entire tubes. But the breeders are interested initially when I started my project, they're interested where the root growth suddenly changes. Now how to model this? So from this graph you can see, so there is a pattern, right? So how to model this using some mathematical model? So we use here different types of mathematical model, but finally we use the sigmoid function for fitting this curve. So we use a sigmoid function where this very simple function fx equal to a plus a divided by 1 by e to the power minus b into x minus c, where c gives the inflection points. So from this point we can find some indication, or we can this will give us something, some rooting depth. We can see where there is a sudden changes. Automatically we can find without looking the graphs. So if we fit if we fit this function, if we fit this function for all tubes, then we can get some estimate without looking the root at each tubes. So this way we can help that, yeah, this is some approximate value. So we use the nonlinear least square method for approximating these parameters ABC. Once this model is fitted, so we can find what is the value of C. So for each tube we have calculated, and yeah. So this is one just initial talks what we have used from here, and this paper also has been published by in this journal, Plants and Soil. If you are interested, you can go through in details this paper. And some finding was like which part of the soil layer. So here we use the random forest methods for finding which features is important, because we have the machine learning models different, but the random forest methods, we know it has huge right now its application because of why? Because it has very important, some features importance from the model we can find in the end. So like here it says that 150 to 170 centimeter, the roots which lies between these are most important. So this is one important findings. So where the plant breeders and the plant scientists, they are also agree with this depth. So this way we are helping the plant breeders using machine learning. This is just one simple machine learning, no deep learning here. Now for this we need the root length, but how to get that root length? So we have a ReadyMax. This ReadyMax project we have a which is already developed one root painter software which can find the segmentation of the images using that unit architecture of deep neural network. So from there, if you give the image, you will get the output of the root length information. So for that, you need the labeling of the data, and which is also laborious, very expensive. So you need a plant scientist for detecting a root, for labeling a root from the image. And there are many roots or many images are required for training purpose to get a better accuracy. But so what are the other ways it can be done without segmentation? Or if you want to understand how the soil properties are important, because not only roots are important for uptaking nitrogen or uptaking carbon uptake, because there are soils are also important. You can see there is soil structure. How the soil structure are important. There may be air gap. There may be some like some old roots, or maybe some holes are there. So there water leakage, or maybe there is a dry soil or wet soils. So which part of the soils are important? So if we use segmentation, if we use this information only from the segmentation image, only we are getting the root information, but it doesn't include the soil properties, the soil density, how compactness, how soil compacts are important. So for that, we used a deep learning. It's a regression-based model. So where directly from the images, we are trying to predict that 15N and trying to predict 13C, trying to predict root length also. So we develop a machine learning, that deep learning model to predict root length, that image to root length without image segmentation. And we develop a deep learning model using the transfer learning, ResNet 50, from this that large raw plants root images. So without segmentation, without any preprocessing, without any that root segmentation, to investigate the root growth and root functions. And also you work on extracting like morphological features, how the roots diameters are important, how the thickness of the roots are important. So different ways we are trying to phenotyping the roots to understand the deep roots information. And also we use multimodal data, like instead of just only images, we can embed some other information, like we have genotypic data, we have that depth information, which can be incorporated during training, which can be fed into the model. So we did not use till this that genotypic information, but I used that depth information into the images. So it's type of multimodal image as well as another layers and another channel where we are passing as depth information to the model. So these are some model performance model, like from the image to delta 13C for June data we have used for this analysis. So what we are doing here, we have used that images around, we have between 140 centimeter to 190 centimeter. We have around 10,431 images, so which have been used for training the model. And we use ResNet 50 architectures, so which was it's a pre-trained model, which is on ImageNet dataset, it's pre-trained, and we use some additional layer, and we fine-tune the hyperparameters of that model. So we train the models around 100 epochs, and we have got something this much of training accuracy so that it doesn't overfit. You can train more to get a more accuracy, but we have got this gap between this training and testing, this 35 to 20. If you make the model complex, you can make it more. You can get a better training, but you may get worse the testing accuracy. So we used here R square value for this regression model to evaluate the performance of the regression model. And this is just, we are approximating a function, right, from image to this delta 13C. And the performance of that on the testing data set we are getting from that function is 28%. That means it can explain 28% means what? So that model can explain the variability of that 13C, the 28%. But training data is 35%. But from here, what we can see? Nothing we can see, right? Just model it is. But how to understand, how to interpret this model, that is important. Like in regression model, we have seen that this part is important. So regression model has inbuilt some features importance. This random forest model has. So we can use that features importance. So, but here from the images, it's a very complex, right? So which part of the images are important? So how to find that? So that I'll discuss. So we have some techniques, so which is generally also is part of interpretability and AI, artificial intelligence, how to interpret the model, interpretation of that model. So these are the different model we have been trying to understand that from image to end-to-end modeling, or sometimes we call this type of modeling. So ResNet 50 architecture we use through Delta 15N. And we are using different types of features, like we have from that root painter software, we have the root length information. So by integrating this, so as I said, it's a multimodal we have used. So by integrating this with that image, so we are trying to approximate. Sometimes we got a better accuracy, better testing accuracy. The different ways we are trying to understand the model performance. So here I showed here it's showing that 5-fold possibilization was used, and we have used the different models for understanding that the model performance. This is another where we use that image to, because we have the root length information also. So we use one model. So we have images and we have the root length information. So let's try to fit a model. Okay. So if we fit a model, then what we'll get? So this is what this root length information, some transformation, square root of planar root length density or something. Just consider this is a root length. So we are trying to find a mapping here. So we develop a model for approximating this mapping. And here we have got a very good accuracy. You can see here 95%, 99%. Now what is the use of this one now? So this one would be without use of any segmentation. You don't need any label data for this right now. Now this model can able to predict the root length. If you give the input image, it can find, yeah, this much, this centimeter, that 1.2 centimeters, you have the root length for that particular image. So this model has this type of application. So it can be used without any further labeling, without any segmentation. Directly this model can be used. This is one such application. So it can be used for finding the root length information, and which we have also validated at different data set. In some other data set we have used where we have got a little less accuracy. So that's dependent on the data, how many data you have trained the model, and what data set you have been used during this segmentation, or what model it was used, what model was used for segmentation. So there are many dependencies are there. So this way we are trying to understand that model performance of the deep neural network. Yeah. So now what I was saying that, so like for here, the 13C prediction, right? So we have got this model. Now which part of the image is important? So how to find? So we can use that, there is called saliency map, that which part is important. I hope it's not visible, but just trying to say you, just trying to tell you from here that by this saliency map, what is calculate? It calculate the gradient of the output that model predicted values with respect to the that each pixels of that input image. It calculate some gradient information, and if we plot that gradient, you can see some where the gradient changes. That means from here we can say model learns, and this is from the last convolution layer of that ResNet architecture has different layers. I hope most of you are familiar with that. Convolution layer you have, and from the last convolution layer we have the activation, we have the features map, and from that features map we are calculating. We have been we have calculated the gradients of the output of the predicted values, and if we plot that, you will get some this type of information. And from here, that breeders or plant scientists can understand, yeah, this part is important. I hope if I zoom it, you can get it. Some like these highlighted parts are most important for that uptaking the delta 13C or for predicting that measurements, that predicted value, that predictors what we have. Okay, so I'm not going into details. So this is one can be used for regression model, because our model was regression. Because why regression model? Because images we have predicting a continuous value. So generally we call these models are regression models. Now, can we make it a classification model or something like that? So like, yes, we can make like this is one classification model for without root, with root classification. The image has roots or image doesn't have any roots or very few or very small amount of root, you can say it's negligible. So if we take a threshold value like the root length, the planar root length is less than 0.001, then we are considering that without root. And another class is a type of binary classification problem. Okay, now if we fit a model, so we got this much of accuracy, like here 99% training accuracy, validation accuracy or testing, you can say, is a 94% accuracy. So now, why we are converting this? So because of this classification models, we have here that gradient cam, GradCam. So GradCam finds again is similar to the saliency map. It's a gradient that class activation mapping. So you can find that which parts are important from the images. So these are the model outputs, and after superimpose, you can see from here. So these are the some insights or from the images. So as a computational like computational scientists or AI scientists or data scientists, how we can help them? So we can tell them, yeah, these parts are important from uptaking or from predicting planar root length information. So like the root as well as this part or something like that. So I'm not expert of that, so they can understand. But we can say, so from the model, it can predict these are important parts. Similarly, you can see the roots are very close to that part. And there may be other type of information which, right, as a data scientist or computer scientist, we cannot say. But the plant breeders, they can understand. Plant scientists, they can understand why this is important. So they can interpret much better. But we can interpret the model interpretation just from here. So these are the some images you can see, some results. So using images, so which parts of the roots are important, so which can be detected by using this GradCam heat map or GradCam. Yeah. So this the previous one for that root length classification, another one for 13C classification. This is another data set we have. We used again the similar model, similar architectures, ResNet 50, and we trained the model again on that same data set to 2018, and we have got the validation accuracy around 72, training accuracy 99, and these are the that GradCam outputs. So these are the superimposed images you can see from here. So using this deep learning, that using this GradCam, we can help the plant scientists. This way they can sometimes it is surprising, sometimes not. So we are helping this way. That's good. Yeah. Now another thing, so which I've been also working with, another very important, nowadays very familiar, very famous, that artificial neural network for solving differential equation. So we call it a neural network, also called it's a physics informed neural network, PIN. It's a neural network that trains to solve that superior tasks while respecting the physical law. So physics law or physical law. So it was generally first attempt by this RISE. So it's a data-driven solution. So we have data, like numerical solution from the data, how to fit a model. And there is one data-driven discovery of the PDEs. This is called the inverse problem. There are two types of problems generally in partial differential equation. Sometimes we have the equation, already we know the equation, we have to solve that equation. And sometimes we have some data, some physics we have. So how to get the model? And once we have the model, we can able to predict something. So I'll discuss how to approximate this function for finding the solution or finding the discovery of that partial differential equation. And that universal approximator, that what we call like for partial differential equation, is an identify nonlinear map from a few potentially very high dimensional. It's a very high dimensional data. It's very useful because in high dimensional, if you want to solve a partial differential equation, which is very complex because it would be very slow in high dimension, that finite difference method you cannot solve in more than 3 dimension, or maybe I don't know whether there is a, but it's very complex. It will take huge time for, or very expensive in terms of time. It's take lots of time because meshing, if the domain is huge, you need meshing, right? For different, you need lots of points. You need to, if you want to find the solution at different points. So the meshing is important there. However, many physical and biological consist of encoded physical law. So we need to use this physical law during this modeling. So I'll tell you how to use that physics during that modeling. So this is just one generalized equation for partial differential equation. You know, it's a UT, that del U del T plus some functions, neural network, or it's a function of U lambda. So this is our some parameterized model. We want to find sometimes you have to find U, sometimes you have to find the lambda, the unknown parameters for the inverse problem. So sometimes we have the data, as I said. So we need to find that given lambda, what is UTX? What is the solution of that model, of that differential equation, if the lambda is given to U? Or if you want to find the lambda, the inverse problem, that is called the data-driven discoveries of PDEs. So this is just 1 hour work on that deep learning based solution of nonlinear partial differential equation, which arising in the modeling of arterial blood flow. So you know, in the arterial blood flow here, that that blood flow can be modeled by using Navier-Stokes equation, and where from the Navier-Stokes equation we know there are 2 equations, like for momentum equation and the conservation of mass, we have a continuity equation. So from there, we know the equation, and for fixed, suppose some Reynolds number or for some parameters, we can get, suppose, this type of equation, system of nonlinear equation. Now, how to solve those equations? Sometimes these 2 equations has some linear numerical solution we have, but the evolutionary equation, this doesn't have any analytical solution. Either we can use some perturbation method or some, but how to solve using deep neural network, using physics informed neural network? So we approximate the solution by using physics informed neural network. So how we use, just I'll tell you here. So here you can see the architectures of that deep neural network. This is the neural network, and so here you can see this is the differential equation. We need to solve this equation. That ut plus f of this equal to 0. Now our aim to approximate the solution, and we know neural network is best for function approximation, like from that universal approximation function. So we can approximate this u. So uxy is u cap xt. So we want to find this approximate u by using neural network. So this is the neural network we have, and we are predicting this u cap and this u cap. So we have the differential equation, and what are the data we have here right now? So we have only the boundaries, the solution on the boundaries are known to us. So on the boundary of that artery, we know that on the boundary that velocity of that fluid flow is 0 if you consider initially, suppose it has some parabolic profile, or maybe if you consider initially 0. So then how to find the solution? So we have some boundary points, and so then how to find the solution here? So we use the neural network, and we have the differential equation. So then this solution that you tilt, it must satisfy the differential equation. So we computed some loss from here, from this, whatever the u cap we are getting, it may not be exact solution. So initially it must have some error generally. So then it must satisfy the differential equation. So whenever it's very close to 0, if you take all the terms on the left hand side, if you make it 0, so if you substitute this value of u cap over on this equation, then if it is not close to 0, then you will get some error. Then we have to reduce that error by using that retaining, or by using that backpropagation algorithm. So once we have the desired accuracy, that mean square error, or whatever the total error over here we are getting, if that error is less than our desired accuracy, then we can stop and we can say this is the solution. And once we have got the solution, then what we can say, this solution is a very efficient solution. Why? It's very efficient because of it's a continuous type of solution. You cannot write explicitly, but the solution, you can find the solution at any points over the domain. And also it's mesh free. It doesn't require any mesh. You just need some randomly points. So here I didn't say that we have the boundary point, as well as we took some point from that domain. Where we don't know the solution, where the solution are not known inside the domain. Just we calculate that residue over here. So you can see that L1 is corresponding to the residual loss, and L2 the solution on the boundaries. What are the residue water we are getting from the boundary? So these two loss we have to minimize during this backpropagation algorithms. So yeah, so we have got the solution. So I can show you some. So these are the solution of one such equation of our model. So, and also we have validated with the numerical solution for this Berger equation. And yeah, we have got very good accuracy for this particular solution. For this evolutionary equation, we have solved this Berger equation for numerical validation. For evolutionary equation, we have solved using that PIN, physics informed neural network. And this PIN has huge, right now, has many applications in inverse problem. If we have very limited data in the experimental, from the experiment, where you cannot get huge data. Generally for deep neural network, we need large data set, right, for training the model. But if we don't have the huge data, but if you know the physics, so if we can use the physics, the underlying physics, if we integrate that in the model during training, so from there, that model can able to predict that solution. It can discover it can find what is the differential equation also. It can find the model also. So that is also known as inverse problem, where we can able to find we can discover the model from the data. So data discovery of that partial differential equation from the model. And yeah, so that's only. If you have any question, please feel free to ask me. And these are some solution we have. So if you have any question, please.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I have a question.
Okay, so let me check. So in the chat. Or
Am I audible?
yeah, you are audible.
Actually, sir, I have the question.
Yeah. Yes.
So, as
So
you
should
know,
I
there are
open the
different.
slides or?
Yes, last slide is enough. This one. Yes, this one.
This one, yeah.
So, as you know, there are different methods, numerical
Yes.
methods are there to solve nonlinear partial differential equations and the boundary value problems. So, what will be the benefit if we use deep neural network model to solve such type of equations?
Yeah, so benefit, as I already talked about little bit. So I'll tell you, because in the finite difference or finite element, whatever the other numerical techniques we have, the problem is for gradings, that meshing. So if you know the solution, suppose if you want to find the solution over the domain. So in the domain, so initially for any finite difference or any numerical methods, you have to discretize the domain in the
Yes,
beginning.
sir. Yes.
And you can find the solution only on those points.
Yes.
Right, where you during that means during this during the iterative process.
At different mesh points, we generally find the solution.
Yeah, different mesh points. But in case of deep neural network, where you don't need the meshing, don't need any discretization of the domain. But the problem in the numerical methods, if you have to find the solution at any point in between, then again you have to do the meshing. Again you have to solve the equation, which is very expensive, right? Again, you have to solve the differential equation, or maybe you have to use some interpolation method for finding the solution at other grid points. But if you approximate the solution by using deep neural network, then you can find the solution at any point, because it's a continuous. As I said, the solution is analytical in nature. That means you can find the solution at any points over the domain. Once you have the model, once you got the desired accuracy, for that you need a better training, best model, right? It's not a very simple one. So you have to train the model in a proper way. But once you have the model, you don't need to train. You can find the solution at any point over the domain.
Okay, sir.
Is it clear?
Okay, sir. Clear, sir.
And there is also another advantage, like the finite difference. There is a problem in the high dimensional space.
Yes.
Dimension is high, then it's very, very complex, the solution. But here, as because of that deep neural network use GPU, right? So it's very fast in computation in GPUs. So that's why it can able to find the solution very fast at any points. Once the model is trained, you can find the solution at any points within a millisecond.
Okay, sir. So, is there any question from the participants, from the audience? Okay, sir. I think there is no question from the participants. I think they have understood everything.
Okay, thank you. So should I stop sharing? Let me.
Yes, sir. You
Stop.
can stop your file, sharing your file.
Okay, my video was off, so sorry for that. I didn't see. Yeah.
So thank you again to join with us. So you have given us time from your busy schedule. I know you are in India for a few days only.
So right now I'm in India.
You have given us time during your
No, it's okay. Thank you, Dr. Sandip, for this invitation. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think we will meet again. And
Yeah,
we
yes,
will,
sure, definitely.
Arrange some other programs so that we can get get touch with you. Okay. Thank you,
Yes.
sir.
Sure. So bye.
Bye, sir.
Thank you.